Name's Amy Schweikart. I work at the North Suburban YMCA, and I would like to welcome Denise Schwartz. Denise is a physical therapist from the Manual Touch. She's here with us today. She'll be presenting on how to heal your heel pain naturally. As I said before, this will be recorded and uploaded to our YouTube series, so please reference it then. And on behalf of the NSYMCA, we thank you and welcome you, and we'll look forward to learning more all together.
Thank you, Amy. Let's see, I need to share. Another little housekeeping thing. If you have any questions, put it in the chat box or write it down to let us know later. Sorry, I'm sharing my screen here. Okay. We have a mouse and a screen. Yes?
Looks
Everybody
great.
good?
Yep.
All right. Yeah, so I can't see myself and I can't see you, so I won't be able to see if you have questions or anything. So please use the chat box or save it for the end and we'll get to it. Okay. So welcome. We're going to talk about heel pain. Obviously, your foot could hurt in all sorts of places, but we're kind of focused on just about the heel today. And as Amy said, I am a physical therapist. I am the owner of the Manual Touch Physical Therapy in Wheeling. We use a whole body approach of traditional and non-traditional therapy to get people back doing the things they love to do. While Amy and I were getting set up, we were talking about, I had just recently got back from Florida. I went last month and the weather was terrible, but it was very relaxing. But I had this really exciting thing happen. I got to the airport Friday morning and they were looking for volunteers to go the next day. And I was visiting my daughter, so I was in no hurry. So they accepted for me to go the next day, and so did another gentleman. And we both got 2,500 United dollars. So I was very excited. So I'm starting to plan some travel. And maybe that's something you want to do, is be able to continue to travel. So we got to take care of that foot pain or any other pain that you might have. All right. So, as I said, I'm the owner of the Manual Touch Physical Therapy in Wheeling. I started out my career at Lutheran General Hospital, worked there for about 14 years. I began studying non-traditional therapy while I was there, and then I left to work for that company for about 7 years. And then we parted ways 15 years ago now, and I opened up the Manual Touch. And I combine traditional and non-traditional therapy to get people back doing what they love to do. I also have a subspecialty working with runners. The non-traditional therapy is called this integrative manual therapy. And that's just a really whole body approach of hands-on therapy, really looking at the whole body and what might be limiting you from healing. Applied functional science is the exercise complement to that. Again, looking at where is the limitation and why you aren't healing. About 5 years ago, I added something called an OOV and a balance sit, and we'll talk about that at the end. And again, I do work with runners as well. I do videotape run analysis to see if people need to work on their form. So we talked about, maybe you want to get to travel. This was me and my friends, and we were in Alaska. We didn't kayak the whole time. We kayaked for a whole hour there, but it's just beautiful. There's a lot to see there and do. I hope you get a chance to get to Alaska. It's really special. Maybe you want to golf or continue golfing, travel. Or maybe it's just really hard to stand around with your friends and cook because of your pain. And so we really need to get you back doing that. Or maybe you have a major goal like these ladies. I did a half marathon. You can see the medals around their neck called the Gasparilla. That's in Tampa. Goodness, this was at least maybe, let's see, my daughter, I don't know, 12 years ago, maybe. I can't remember. And I was standing in line at Starbucks, and I felt like I was standing in line a really long time. And these three ladies were behind me, and they were so colorful, and they had all these medals. And my race hadn't even happened yet, which was the next day. So I said to them, how'd you get a medal already? And they said that they walked the 5K, and that they were going to walk the 10K later that day, and then they were going to walk the half marathon the next day. These ladies all ranged in age from 70, 80 years old, and they did these long walks because they were planning to walk across the United States. And we kept in touch, and they did complete that walk. They did do it in 2 sections. They walked halfway from Florida to Texas, I don't think maybe 4 months, and then they took a break, and they came back and did the rest of the country, Texas to California. So really, really cool women. And you can see this lady, it was her birthday. Okay, so we're here to talk about foot pain. And there's so many things that could be going on in the foot, but we're just going to look at real specific in the heel because it's very common and I see a lot of it. And it sort of depends on when you have the pain or why. Does it happen first thing in the morning? Is it after you sit for a while and then you stand up? Is it during an activity, after an activity? Does the pain ease up after walking 10 minutes? And so we're going to look at, what are the most, I sort of bypassed here. So we're going to talk about the 4 common causes of heel pain: plantar fasciitis, heel spur, a stress fracture, and fat pad atrophy. But first, let's do a little bit of anatomy here, okay? There are a lot of bones in the foot. I forgot to write down how many bones. I don't remember, sorry. But there's a lot of different bones, and there's a lot of different muscles that start up in the calf that go all the way down in the foot. And then there's muscles that are in the foot itself. And so any one of those places can be an issue, okay? What I wanted to show here is, our feet are attached to our leg bone, the song, our hip bone is connected to the knee bone, connected to the foot bone. So what's going on in the feet can affect everything up above. So we're here talking about foot pain, but if you come in with back pain, sometimes it's because of stuff going on in your feet. Or maybe you have neck pain, and it could be something going on in the feet. So it's really important to look at the whole picture, okay? So, oh, here we go. I knew I had it somewhere. So the foot ankle has 23 bones. There's all the little bones. You got all the toes. The toes have sometimes 2 or 3 little bones. This is the metatarsal. This is the long bone there. And then you got some bones here. And then this is the heel right here, the heel bone called the calcaneus. And just above it is called the talus. And above that would be your tibia. I don't know if you can see it. I guess it would be here. Okay. Kind of hard to see there. Maybe I get a close up. I'll add a close up next time. So, you got your heel bone, and then there's the talus, and then on top of that is your tibia and your fibula. So any component there can be an issue, limiting you from healing down below. And as you can see, you move around and walk, and our feet are really, really important. And when they hurt and there's a problem, there other things can go awry. What we've all sort of heard about on the bottom of the foot is the plantar fascia. And the plantar fascia is a thick fibrous band of tissue. It's not really a muscle. And it connects the heel bone to the ends of the metatarsal there. And underneath are all these little muscles, okay? But fibers of this plantar fascia connect to the Achilles tendon right here that attach to your calf muscle. And you have 2 calf muscles. One's called the gastrocnemius, called the gastroc. And then deeper to that is called the soleus. And they have fibers connected to the Achilles tendon, which is connected to the plantar fascia. So there's a very direct link to when you start having heel pain to what's going on in your calf. Now, the foot plays an important role in activating our bodies to work the right way. When we, I don't have it'd be nice if I had a foot. So when we walk, we hit the outside of our heel first, and then we roll over and our foot flattens out, and then it actually pronates, what's it supposed to do, and then you roll over the big toe. And when you roll over that big toe, it then activates your core to fire to stabilize you. Okay? 9 times out of 10, that what we call neuromuscular control is not working for people. And so a lot of therapy is about re-educating people on how to use their feet integrated with their core. Your core is every muscle between your diaphragm and your pelvic floor in the front and in the back. Everybody has a six-pack muscle, which is called the rectus abdominis. It's just not everybody has it defined based on their tissue, okay? But there are deeper muscles in here that are very important that we want to look at. And then all the muscles, one day, I have to get a better picture too. The pelvic floor muscles are very important. And that's what, when we roll over a big toe, activates those deep pelvic floor muscles. And they stabilize our pelvis as we move through the world. So that's a little bit about mechanics and anatomy. So let's get into the nitty-gritty about heel pain. Why do you get it? Well, anybody can get it, okay? Your feet could be flat. You could have a high arched foot. It could be people who sit all day. It could be people who are very active. So it could be my runners. It could be people who are standing all day working. It doesn't really matter. It could be people who are heavy. It could be people who are not heavy. Anybody can be affected. And oftentimes it has to do with some restrictions going on up above, whether in your hips, your core, your calves, or in the foot itself. So let's talk about the most common cause of heel pain, common diagnosis, plantar fasciitis. And remember, that's that thick band of tissue on the bottom of the foot. And what's happening is you get these little micro tears in that tissue. And as it's trying to heal, it kind of gets disorganized. And so it gets very tight. And usually people have pain first thing in the morning or after sitting a while and they get up to move. That's sort of the telltale sign of plantar fasciitis. Sometimes people can walk, it hurts the first 5 or 10 minutes of walking and then it eases up and then they're fine. Sometimes it hurts in the beginning of the walk, it eases up, and then as you walk longer, it activates again. So there's a lot of variation in how it affects you. When we poke around on the bottom of the foot, usually you have tenderness somewhere in the arch, even though the pain is in your heel. That's where it attaches. It's the arch area that gets to be the most tender and restricted. And the way that we treat this is actually by dynamic calf stretching. And I have those on my that exercise on my website, and really strengthening up the feet and getting you more mobile everywhere else. Usually people have tight hips or their back is tight, and so they keep walking in a pattern that keeps aggravating the foot. But when we get better mobility up above, then your foot can work a little differently and you won't keep aggravating the same thing. Shoes are important. And even if you're sitting at a desk, wearing shoes can be very important. Now, there's been talk over the years, particularly in the running community, about barefoot walking and running. In our country, kids are in shoes pretty early on. We're not a country that walks around barefoot for years at a time. So that is not necessarily going to strengthen your feet up, just walking around barefoot. Most people need to learn how to integrate their feet with their body, with shoes and without shoes. I'll do some exercises barefoot, but just walking around barefoot is not necessarily your answer. And in fact, can be a real problem until they get strong and are integrated. So it's very important to get a pair of shoes. My best friend, when COVID hit and she was sitting at home, of course, on the computer, she wasn't wearing her shoes much and she had terrible foot pain. And when you get pain, you don't really know what you can and can't do. So I looked at her and I said, oh, this is plantar fasciitis. And your foot needed some support while you were sitting there because it was just kind of stretched out and not functioning very well. And what she needed were certain exercises and stretches and learn how to move. And within a week or 2 weeks, her pain decreased significantly. And then it does just take time to get better. But we need to learn when you can do movement and when you can't. If it's plantar fasciitis, you need movement and you need to use the foot. On my website, there is a tip sheet on what to do for plantar fasciitis. And if you put your first and last name and your email in the chat box, I will be happy to send you this. This is a game changer for foot pain. These are called Correctos and they're toe spreaders. And the beauty of this particular model and design is that it's made of medical grade silicone. It's very flexible and we could trim it in different places to custom fit a little bit. What it does is it allows the fascia on the bottom of the foot to stretch out, as well as when you are standing, your whole foot will sit on the ground the way it's designed to. The big toe sits on the ground, the outside of your foot sits on the ground, and the heel. And so when I have people do their exercises with these on, you start integrating your foot with the rest of your body. This in itself can really change everything about your foot pain. When I first discovered these, I don't know, 12 years ago or whatever, I have very high arched feet. I had big toe surgery a few years ago. And I've needed orthotics since I was in my 30s, and I'm now 61 because of the high arches, and I have a very rigid foot. At any rate, I wore these Correctos, and within 4 weeks of wearing, I wore maybe up to 5 or 6 hours a day. My arches had relaxed just enough that I actually needed to get new orthotics. And I never was comfortable walking barefoot, but after wearing these, I could walk barefoot around the house a bit. So it was very nice. It made a huge difference for me. And this, when your foot is sitting on the ground the way it's supposed to, your balance will improve as well. So these are a really wonderful tool. And I sell these in my office. Relacing your shoes is okay. If you're having toe pain, which isn't what we're talking about here, but just to let you know, if you're toe pain or arch pain or something, you can relace it in all different ways. Particularly you want to open up that toe box. So we're here, roomier fit here. So something like this. I actually just skip this. I don't lace it here, and then I lace up from there. So you can do anything. There's no reason you have to lace up the shoe the way we were taught. It's just important to cinch down your heel. I mentioned I had big toe surgery a few years ago. So this is a little blog post that I wrote about how important your big toe is. Okay, so we talked about plantar fasciitis. So sometimes heel pain could actually mean that you have a heel spur. This usually hurts really pain with weight bearing. I don't find when I poke around on the foot that it hurts so much. Usually you see it on a x-ray and it looks like a dagger. I mean, it's crazy how pointy it looks. And you would think it would hurt like hell, but it sometimes it doesn't. And usually people with plantar fasciitis has a heel spur because all that plantar fascia is pulling on the bone and pulling on the bone and ripping away as we use our foot. And so you get this calcium buildup, and that's how you develop the heel spur. What we do for a heel spur is we usually get like a heel cup in your shoe to alleviate some of the pain. The next most common heel pain would be a stress fracture. This usually, obviously it hurts a lot when you're walking or standing. Pain does not decrease with movement, such as with plantar fasciitis, with the stretching. And you might have pain at rest and you might have pain at palpation. There's probably swelling. So this is, you got to get to the doctor and take a look at, get an x-ray, and they'll probably put you in a boot for a few weeks. Fat pad atrophy happens as we age. You get a thinning of the fat pad on the heel. There isn't a whole lot you can do other than some really good orthotics, some taping, but that's a temporary fix. These are some comments from people about helping people with their heel pain and back pain, and they were very grateful for us here. So what's the number one mistake that people make with heel pain? They ignore it. So my girlfriend, who was sitting and, you know, her foot hurt so much, and then when you have pain, you baby it, which actually only made it worse. So once we figured out what was going on, she needed to move. And here, just a picture from Alaska, there's a glacier. In the year 2000, so this was in 3 years ago, but that glacier was here from 2005. So don't ignore your pain. Let's get it checked out. If you're not on Medicare, you do not need a prescription to come in for physical therapy. But if you're on Medicare, you need to contact your doctor first. So how do we know if therapy can help? First, is it reproducible? And then we know we can work with it, okay? So if you walking and you get pain and then it dissipates as you're walking, that's reproducible. If you come in and I poke around there and it hurts, that's reproducible. What is not reproducible would be like nerve pain necessarily. So someone with a neuropathy, the way that therapy might help with a neuropathy is the side effects of having neuropathy. We may or may not be able to help the pain, but usually your balance is affected and your strength. And so that's how we can help you with that. So you have three choices when you have pain. You can ignore it and hope it goes away. You can alter it with medications, injections, surgery, and there's a place for that. Or we can handle it with some physical therapy. So usually a combination of these two are very beneficial. And hopefully we try therapy before we go right into surgery. It sort of depends on what's going on, of course. We really want to know what the diagnosis is. Typically, we can determine that when you come in here. If it seems like we really feel you need an x-ray, we can send you to the doctor. Otherwise, they'll tell you what it is before they come in. So I think we talked about this a little bit. So what do we do to treat your heel pain? First, we fix your mechanics, meaning, are you moving enough up in the hips? And usually that is the primary issue, along with core weakness and the core and the feet not working together. So that's what we call about fixing your mechanics. Dynamic stretching to get into those calf muscles, and then strengthening your feet with certain exercises, and then getting the right shoes for you for walking, and or maybe orthotics. Not everybody needs custom orthotics. Oftentimes just over-the-counter orthotics will do. I usually like to see people for 6 to 8 weeks before I send you in for orthotics, because your mechanics will change so much in those 6 to 8 weeks with us. And your feet will be different in the needs. So we don't usually start there. I think if you go to the podiatrist, they may start there, but usually they'll start with an over-the-counter orthotic. And there's a way to look at your feet to determine if you have real true dysfunction in the feet, or you just have, you know, typical run-of-the-mill plantar fasciitis or heel spur, whatever. So that will determine what kind of orthotic you need. So here in physical therapy, we talked about doing exercises. We'll do some hands-on work. We do some non-traditional and traditional. The traditional therapy is a little bit deeper, a little bit more uncomfortable. Non-traditional might be not as uncomfortable. We work on some joint mobility, making sure all the joints move the way they're supposed to. So we're really balancing out the joint mechanics. And we talked about neuromuscular reeducation, getting your feet and your core working together in your whole body. But a huge role that we play is education. And I'm really pretty passionate about this. And again, I have some ebooks on some education on how to take care of yourself. So if you put your first and last name and your email in the chat box, I'll be happy to send it to you. So when you come in, the first few visits, we're going to teach you how to sit down and how to stand and how to walk and how to find the right posture position for you so you're standing over your feet well. How to move through transition, whether it's sit to stand, getting in and out of bed. Sleeping position isn't as important with feet pain, but you need good sleeping position. How to lift, posture, and then, what kind of activities do you like to do? So we can get you back to doing that. Maybe you're a runner. And so we got to get those feet working with the rest of you so you can get back to running. This is a blog post on how to find the right shoes for you. I usually send you to a place that they fit you for the few shoes. They usually do like a 3-dimensional scan to determine which brand shoe works best for you. I am not married to any brand of shoe. It's really what's the right shoe for you. We look at, is your foot more of somebody that falls in, so you overpronate, or are you somebody who underpronates? And that's where you delineate basic shoe category. I alluded to this new treatment tool at the beginning. This is called an OOV. Looks pretty funny. People will tell me it looks like all sorts of animals. And the beauty of this device, it was created by an Australian osteopath and biomedical engineer. And it is designed to use your body in a way so you don't compensate. So we can use it in any position. We can have you on your back. So your core, in order to stay on here, will activate subconsciously. It will help open up your breathing. We can stand with it behind your back. You can see this is an older gentleman here. We can use it standing on it. Here's balancing. Here is a little bit more advanced. That's my son standing on one foot and doing an activity with his arms. So we can use it for all sorts of tools. You can lay on your stomach or your side. So we can use it in all sorts of different ways. And this is wonderful for feet pain. We get you on here. There's lots of different things we can do for the feet to really get it working and stronger. Then he created another tool called a balance sit. And this is exactly what it is. It's something for you to sit on, not for an all day thing, but for exercises, 10 or 15 minutes a day. It helps activate your pelvic floor and your core. And it really helps differentiate your pelvis from your hips and your core so we can really get those working together. All right, we are finishing up. These are my ebooks. This one's mindful tips for movement throughout your day and how to function, some balance tips if you're a runner, for running. And as a thank you, if you'd like to schedule a phone call or telehealth, well, actually not telehealth, we're not doing that anymore. I got to take that out. Phone call with me. I'd be happy to discuss what's going on with you. You can give us a call and my admin can set you up for a phone call. Or if you feel like you're ready to come in, just give us a call and we'll get you scheduled. You can reach me here, Denise at themanualtouch.com. My phone number, 847-541-7600. And again, if you put your first and last name and your email in the chat box, I'll be happy to send you a copy of this PowerPoint as well as those ebooks. Let me see, where's my chat box? Where is it? Oh, there it is. See if anybody has any questions. All right, I don't have any questions, but I do have a couple names. So any questions now? You guys can unmute yourself if you want.
This is Mary. Did you get I sent my name for the information to the Y. You got it. Thank you so much. This has been very helpful and I'm going to follow up with you.
Okay, good. Thank you. All right. So thank you so much. I really appreciate the Y letting me do this. I really love to educate people on how to take care of themselves. It's really important. If people really had learned early on how to take care of themselves, they wouldn't be needing me so much, but that's how it goes.
Thank you so much, Denise. Everyone who's here, we have another talk with Denise. Your next talk is in April.
Mhm.
It's Thursday, April 3rd, same time, 12 o'clock.
Okay,
And Denise will be talking about how to heal hip pain naturally as well. So
I
please.
can't remember when I'm doing what, so. But thanks for letting me know.
Yeah, and thank you so much. I think this was wonderful. I learned something. Um, I'm not sure if you see, Elaine left a message saying something about I have burning fever. What do I do?
Is that a typo, Elaine?
Elaine, I'm gonna unmute you if you want to chat.
Yes, I'm here.
Oh, there you go.
You wrote fever, but I don't think that's what you meant.
Sorry.
You wrote fever. You have burning what?
Feet. I have burning feet.
Oh,
Oh,
feet.
yeah, is that neuropathy?
Yes.
Yeah. There isn't a whole lot, but we need to make sure that you're still, you're in the right shoes and your balance is okay. I know it's super uncomfortable when people have the neuropathy, it needs
Yeah.
medication.
It's even woke me up at night.
Yeah, yeah. Usually there's some medication you can take, and I've heard that complaint before. So sometimes it's by getting you moving better, you might get less pain because you don't keep doing the same pattern over and over again. But there isn't a miracle cure for neuropathy, unfortunately.
I'm retired, and when I worked, I stood on my feet, and I was told that my feet are the bottom is like about, or I don't know, very thin.
Oh, yeah, that's that fat pad, the atrophy on the bottom of the feet. So you need, some cushioning in your shoes, probably
Yeah.
some good orthotics.
Yes, I have ones that I put in my, yeah. But there's nothing to do for the burning. I soak my feet to help.
No, not a whole lot. Usually medication.
Okay.
All right, sorry, I wish we could.
Hi, it's Mary again. I have a question. I have hearing problems and I've always had some balance problems. And I'm wondering, I think I haven't been to the doctor yet with plantar fasciitis. I've had it in the last 3 months, maybe twice, first thing in the morning, the things you described. But I'm wondering if that relates to balance, because you mentioned that do you do work with gait and walking?
Oh, of course, of course. That's very important. We're doing all functional movements.
Mhm.
So it's very important to work on the gait and your balance in relation to anything, any ache or pain that you might have.
Mhm. Okay, great. Thank you.
Yeah. Okay. Well, thank you for having me. At least we have a nice sunny day, even though it's cold.
Yeah.
So stay warm.
All right. Thank you so much, everybody. Hope to see everyone
Thanks
again
for coming.
soon. Take care.
You too.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.